everyone, this is Delight, and we are going to get ready to do a baby shower for our reborns with our cousins, and we wanted to make some scones for our party, and I thought it would be a fun idea to show you how we make scones. So I've got all the ingredients laid out here, and this is my basic scone recipe. It's a recipe that I came up with some years ago. I wanted to learn how to make scones, and I tried different recipes, but kind of came up with my own recipe. I wanted scones that were moist and fluffy, but not the hard, there's some scones that are kind of hard and crusty, but I wanted the soft, fluffy kind. So I experimented and came up with this recipe. So first of all, we start out with 2 cups of flour, and I've already pre-measured that into my bowl. And then we add a fourth of a cup of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt, and I mix those dry ingredients together, and then I put in 1 stick or a half a cup of butter. It can also be margarine or half butter and half margarine. I've found sometimes that if you do half butter and half margarine, they seem to turn out fluffier than all butter. But yeah, so then I use one of the, and you could use a food processor to make this crumbly if you want to, and when I'm making lots of scones, that's what I usually do. But if I'm just mixing up one batch, I find the cutters to be just as easy and quick, so, and less cleanup afterwards. So yeah, I have made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of scones over the years, because in the summer I do sales where I sell my tea. I'm a dealer for loose leaf teas, and I sell my teas and my homemade scones and homemade artisan breads on the sidewalks in a little resort town that's not too far from us. And my daughters have gone with me to these sales, and we have a lot of fun doing that. We also sell some of our handcrafted items and such too. So, and then I've also done teas for ladies, I've helped with ladies' retreats and things like that, where I've made lots and lots of scones and huge batches of tea to serve. Okay, so now I've got all my dry ingredients and the butter all cut in so it's crumbly. And the next step will be adding the moist ingredients. And so we've got, we'll be putting in a half a cup of sour cream. It's just my oven saying I'm up to temp. So yeah, and I'm not a real stickler for measurements, but I put in about a half a cup of sour cream. And the recipe, the basic scone recipe, calls for a half a cup of milk or half and half, but I'm going to be making plum scones today, and so I'm going to be adding some plum jam. So that's going to add some moisture too, so I'm not going to put in quite the half a cup of half and half, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I'm making plum scones. This is plum jam, and you can use any kind of jam, strawberry, raspberry, marmalades, apricot. I've made lots of different flavors of scones, but I like the plum. It's got a little bit of a tartness. This is homemade plum jam that my mom made. Okay, so I see I need a little bit more moisture, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little more half and half here. Like I said, you can just use milk also in place of the half and half. It just depends on how rich you want them. And what you want this to come to is the consistency of like a baking powder biscuit dough is what you want it to end up like. So just keep adding a little moisture until the sides of your bowl come clean and you've got a lump of dough there. I need a bit more down in there. Okay, and that looks like it's all coming together here. So I will get the pan ready and I'll show you how we form them. Okay, so I've got my pan ready and I just sprinkled some flour on top of it to put the dough on so it won't stick to the pan. And I turn out my dough. Get it all off. There's a spoon there, and the kids always like to lick that out. And I just start forming my dough here into a ball. Now you don't want to work it too much because you want to have nice fluffy scones, and so you don't want to knead it a lot. You just want to get it put together enough so that you can form 2 circles. So you've got a round here, probably somewhere between 6 and 8 inches across, and about, an inch thick there. I want to have some little scones at our tea party, so instead of making 2 rounds, I'm going to cut this one in half also and make 2 smaller rounds so I can have some little mini scones. Okay, so you see I've got the mini scones there. And now another thing that I do is I sprinkle just a little bit of cinnamon and sugar on the top. That just makes them pretty. You can use turbinado sugar. You can, I don't know, use probably different things for the top. But with the plum, I like a little bit of a cinnamon flavor with it. So this is just cinnamon and sugar on top. Then, I've got one of these little scrapey tools. They actually make really good scone cutters. So normally I cut the larger rounds into 8 scones, and I just separate them on my pan. So when they bake, they don't stick back together again. And then make these into little ones. So yeah, this batch will make 16 regular sized scones or 32 mini scones. And if you're making lots of different flavors, it is sometimes fun to make the mini scones even for a ladies' tea, because then you can try different flavors. Because one regular size scone is fairly filling. So here we've got our little scones all ready to go in the oven, and then I bake them at 400 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. You just kind of watch them, so you want them just barely starting to brown a little bit, but you don't want to get them over baked because I like them really moist. But again, this recipe is so wonderful because you can change it. It's just limited to your imagination of what flavors of scones you can make. Just as an example, you can just add simply some almond extract and you've got some real nice almond flavored scones. Or you could add lemon and poppy seed. You can add chopped nuts, pecans, walnuts, dried fruit, cranberries, and apricots. And like I said, any flavor of jam or marmalade. You can also add fresh strawberries or raspberries to them, or peaches cut up. It's really good. I've made pumpkin scones and applesauce scones and add some spices to that too. And for like pumpkin scones, whatever you're using, if you're using a wet ingredient such as pumpkin or applesauce, then just compensate, don't use as much, half and half. So you want to have about, with the sour cream and applesauce or whatever you're using, about a cup of moist ingredient along with your dry. But you just experiment. You can also make them chocolate. Replace some of the flour with cocoa powder and add chocolate chips to them, so you've got like double chocolate scones. And one of my kids' favorite is if I make chocolate mint, and I just add a little bit of mint flavoring to the dough and then stir in the little mini chocolate chips. So yeah, there's just no limit to how many different flavors you can make, and I hope you have fun trying this recipe. I'm going to stick these in the oven now, and we will be back when they come out. Okay, so our scones are out of the oven, and they are just looking delicious. So I'm going to put the little ones on a plate here for our party. So I encourage you to try this recipe. It's just so easy, and it's really fun. And if you have ladies over for tea or whatever you like to do, or even a children's party, they're real fun. And they are delicious. So those are our scones, and hope you enjoyed watching it. And yeah, let me know what you think. Talk to you later. Bye.